Come Art Me, bro. You made it here. Welcome. This is the show that I created, and this is the intro. I'll tell you a little bit about the show. I'm Tony, Jose Antonio Furpy. I said that in my trailer. You probably already heard that. This is the start of the show when I kind of give you a little explanation about what's going to come. So I'll say it very quickly because I only have a little bit of time. This is a show about artists. Come on me, bro.
Come on me, bro.
Come on me, bro.
Yes, come on me, bro.
You mean like, come on me, bro?
Sounds good, man. Sounds very podcasty. Sounds legit.
I've been listening to so many different podcasts to try to see what sounds like. I've heard some really bad ones and I've heard some really good ones, and I'm trying to be in the line between corporate and fun, Ashton Kutcher's gonna come out and throw an egg in your face or something like that.
I didn't get that.
No, okay. I thought I kind of had one of those parody shows. I don't know what it is.
No, it sounds very fitting, man. It's really dope.
Cool.
It sounds good.
Cool. Thanks for joining me, dude. I really wanted to get you on the podcast, and this is actually the first recording of Come Art Me, bro, and welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Round of applause for the homie Tony. Big moves.
We did it, dog. Your beard got bigger and my hair got longer.
Yeah, fucking hair got thinner.
Yeah, look at that. You can't see it, audience, but Carlos has a straight bald head. He probably shaved it for this interview. The interview you had earlier, you just shaved it because it's just normal shaving day.
My hair's migrated south perfectly.
It's okay. I'm trying to put it back, and you're trying to put a cap on, bro. It's all right. We'll both make it look pretty with it with a nice hat on.
You got that. You got a post production, right? You do that on your podcast? You do
totally. Not at all. Everything we do now.
Hollywood effects.
Yeah, I'm still working on the fact that whether I'm gonna have these little sound effects that I put in. For some reason I want to embrace the things that people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. And for the podcast, it's been a very daunting thought to try to figure this all out. But I'm glad you could join me today, bro.
Cool, man. Happy to hear you. Happy to be here.
I definitely want to make sure that we're staying on task because I know that we can go off topic, but it's mostly going to be me going off topic. You can usually stay on topic, and you usually have a better way of sticking to that. So, but me, dude, I sometimes ramble, and I just to let you know that might happen, and we'll try to bring it back.
Hey, man, I like rabbit holes. We can just fucking take a walk wherever we want, man.
Oh, yeah. And you can curse on this podcast. This is an explicit podcast.
Hey, and
dude, you're embracing it. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to not speak in my radio DJ voice because...
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Don't do that.
As we start pressing record, I feel like I have to
And this is Carlos Solano up next in Miami, Florida. What do you think, Carlos? What's up for you? Color.
K-some. No, that's what I feel like I have to do every single. You know how long it took me to just start recording and just kind of feel like I'm talking normal.
Nah, man, we homies, brother. Just if you're talking funny, I'm gonna call you out. So don't do it.
Right. So we've known each other for a couple years now. We met in South Florida. Carlos and I are artists in Miami, in South Florida, the general Florida area that you can typically find a lot of Hispanic people, a beach. I'm going to over-explain because of the podcast.
Got it.
But we know each other from being in Miami, dude. I met you through other mutual artist friends, which it's a huge community here of artists to know each other, kick it with each other, and kind of, just have mutual friendships of talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we met at Basel, right? Wasn't it Basel? We were watching by the meeting of styles or something like that.
Yeah. Art Basel. So for those who don't know, and I have to always remember that since a lot of people don't know any of these terms or where we come from, and it's very foreign to a lot of people, I have to explain a lot of stuff. So first, Art Basel is one of the biggest art shows in South Florida that comes down to Miami every year in the first week of December. Artists from around the world, around everywhere come to just congregate, paint, partake with other artists. At least that's on the artist side. That's one of the things that I love about Art Basel.
I'll just let fellow artist and friend Ruben Hubiera explain what Art Basel is.
Art Basel is actually a convention of galleries, and galleries that choose their best artists to show their work. While that, there's a lot of satellite fairs with a lot of different artists that enjoy the Basel presence. So you gotta know if you wanna see the classics and modern contemporary art that is going on in galleries in the Basel show, or if you wanna see the side galleries and the side shows where there's a lot of other raw talent that is happening, taking advantage of everything that's happening here.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely around that time.
And I definitely wanted to have you on the show because one of the biggest things that dude, I love about your work and about you just as a person, because definitely we're definitely friends and not just like, you know, we work together, we do some art stuff together. I definitely consider you one of my closest friends. And somebody I can actually speak to. So much respect for being in my small circle of like people that I actually like trust, dude.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I operate the same way, man, and I feel the same about you, man. You've been very you know, honest and forward from the get, and like you're very genuine. And I want to say that's like one of my superpowers. Is I can call people out on their bullshit, like off rip. Like I can be like, all right, this guy's not genuine or whatever. And with you, I felt like it was almost like a homie that you've known for a long time, and we just kind of like hit it off. We were homies off rip, so
Definitely.
Like, great partnership. So you're part of my little circle as well, man.
Cheers to that, bro. You know, small circles and big dreams. So we met in a way that like a lot of artists meet in South Florida. We met being on the street, you know, people either introducing us through fellow artists. I know that it's a very easy thing in South Florida, going back to Art Basel, and meeting artists, because it's just such an easy thing to just be on the street, just walking up to somebody and saying what's up, or like being with a group of artists, like we would know, you know, to be able to just barbecue together outside, kick it, and just, you know, partake in watching other artists' friends paint.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I want to say maybe like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
I would say maybe like 3 years ago, because we worked on our collection for about a year.
Yeah,
so I would say for like 3. And
then you dropped another smaller collection that we did with the.
It might have been longer than that, man.
Yeah.
Like 4 maybe. But,
I'm gonna say 3.5 to 4 years.
But that's how good the relationship is. You can't remember. Like it's like,
right,
man, we've been homies for forever, man.
One of the things that I love about going back to Art Basel is that, and it's Art Basel, not Basil, because sometimes it slips in my head. It slips so much because I actually, when I'm cooking now, I say Basel for Basil. So going back to Art Basel, Miami is one of the biggest art shows, one of the in the world. I mean, it originated from France, Art Basel in France. I forget where, but Cannes, I think. No, I'm not sure. But one of the largest art shows of the year comes to South Florida, and it's one of the best times, I think, that I love to go down to Miami pre-pandemic, right? Because I would just get dropped off with an Uber or something like that, because you never drive. There's never parking over there. Mm-hmm. And all the artists come the first week, and you know that's the best time to kind of go down there or be there, because you don't have the crowds of people hanging out and walking around and kind of talking to everybody that you want to talk to.
Yeah,
you know?
It's also one of the only opportunities where you can like get all your artist homies in one place. You know, and so many of us are like, you know, working on different projects or buried in the studio, and like it was just one moment in time of the year where you can kind of like, yo, we out here, say what's up, even if it's like a quick 5 minutes with somebody, just, you know, give them their props, and catch up for a bit. It's kind of like the meet and greet for artists before the craziness happens.
Right. Art Basel is really more for us than it is for like the public. I think it feels like the first part of the week, it's like the first 2 days, 3 days, it's like you haven't worked that much or done all the work stuff. It's more like setting up for the weekend coming up, you know? One of the things I wanted to ask you about was what's the difference between now and before the pandemic, as far as like what was your normal work week for before the pandemic? Because I know you were doing a lot of live art painting, you were doing a lot of murals, a lot of things that involved people around, you know what I'm saying? I know the pandemic kind of has put a stop to a lot of those things. And I didn't even go to Art Basel last year. So this year, how do you feel now? What's changed since all that started?
Yeah. Well, everything's changed, man. Honestly, like I lost my job to the pandemic. So before the schedule was, 9 to 5 during the day, and then, hustle for the passion on after hours, right? So last year I lost my job. And it put me in a situation where, like, people say, do you jump and take the risk, right? Jump off the cliff and take the risk to follow your dreams. Like, I kind of got kicked off the ledge, right? I was at the edge of the cliff for a long time, considering whether to do this art stuff full time or not. And then COVID came and kicked me right in the ass, and I made the jump, became full-time artist, and so I'm gonna say a lot of great things has come from it. I mean, it's my focus is now solely on my art and my direction and my pursuing this dream that I have. And it's just been, before it was just kind of like painting live and painting a mural and painting some shit on the side. Now it's like, all right, now I got to make merchandise. Now I got to, reconnect with my partners like yourself.
Right.
See, take advantage of my network and just kind of like really build and operate as a business. I mean, now C Solano is a brand. It is a business.
Almost definitely.
So it's it's changed things for the better for sure. And I have the steering wheel in my hands now. I don't have to fucking do yearly meetings and quarterly meetings. I have to sit with a room with somebody to see if I'm worth the 50-cent raise and all this bullshit. No, it's all on my head too. And like, so I'm thankful for COVID to happen. I know this horrible shit that's come with it. I lost my mother to it.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. But it put me in a different mindset where, like, I have these talents, I have this gift, and it's time to like stop pussyfooting with it and just kind of like make it happen. And throughout the years of having the support of people like yourself and a small circle and people back home, like, you guys have been the driving force to like keep me focused, keep me on the path. I mean, like, showing, I'm sure you're the same way. You kind of just beat yourself after a while. You're like, man, the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? Or,
this is exactly why I started this podcast now. And I was kind of at a stale point that I feel like you kind of have to pivot a little bit at some point to kind of like what you're saying, change what you're doing in the scenario of, whether it's a hard scenario or an easy scenario. Sometimes it's just kind of changing what you're doing. And then you have a whole nother opportunity out there that happens sometimes that you never even would have thought about, Yeah,
for sure.
I think you have that work ethic. You definitely have a put the work in, no bullshit. You put time into your art that, like when we met, I told you one of the things that I notice about what you do in your art is the consistency of what your style is. And I love your style, dude. I love that colorful, hard line. It kind of reminds me of like seeing like a portrait in like an older, I could be in Santo Domingo or something, and you see like some older portrait of like some old artist that would paint something that has like a different version of what your brain sees that you would never think about having in that way. And it reminds me of kind of a split between the old school graffiti artists, like New York style graffiti, and I don't know. I told you kind of have this Afro, I don't know, way of there's an artist that I love, and it sucks that I forgot his name, but his work had been in a lot of Targets bought, and I say this in a way that like I'm not saying this like your work looks like Target art, but the art that let me back this up a little bit.
Tony, watch your words. Watch your words, Tony.
Your art. I got food from an ice cream man the other day, and I saw some. You have a very distinct style that I can tell like who it is right away. Like you did a package for Argosy coffee.
For
Argyle coffee. That's always I see it in my head. That's how it's like written out. The pack. I didn't even know that it was you attached to the pack that you designed, but Carlos did a pack design for a coffee company, Argyle in Miami. They're in South Florida.
Yeah,
You can check it out. Go on his page. You're definitely going to see it on his Instagram, which I'll link at the end of all this. But right away, I saw it without even Carlos knowing, me knowing that Carlos did this. And I saw this pack and I was like, dude, that's Carlos. And I right away, I didn't even click on like the artist to see who did it. I just started typing, yo, Carlo, like, tag you on Instagram. It didn't even have to be your work. And I could just randomly, type in your name, yo, bro, this is awesome. And be like, this is not me, bro. Like, but no, you can tell right away, man. Like your style was already very distinct when we met. And now I think that you've been getting into more abstract. You've been getting into a lot more different types of putting what you typically do. You have a lot of frames of reference, like, excuse me, like inanimate objects that you like to paint that speak larger than words sometimes. Right now I'm looking at you with your work, and it says hard work, and it's just a single pencil, and it's a number 2 pencil nubbed all the way down to the end almost of like putting in that work. You could tell that that's your style. You have even with the little the lines that you do, the highlights, that is Carlos Solano style. So what is it to you to have a certain style? Like, what did it mean to you to get, like, you did, and obviously you plan to try to maintain a consistency in what you're doing, but did that come from just kind of doing what you do and it turned into that? Or did you see what you wanted to do and go, I really want to emphasize on this?
Nah, basically this was all like, if I really wanted to break it down, I can like say that this style took almost almost like 10, 11 years to like develop. And it's something that happened organically. I just, I started with one style and I did something else, and I just started like taking pieces from whether it be artists that I like or things that I've run into, mistakes. And over time, these things just kind of built up, right? The way I lay paint, the way I lay my lines. And my goal, once I realized that I was kind of finding my style, my goal was to make sure that I brand this style, like this becomes mine and I own the style. Because I'm a big fan of artists that do like one thing, like whether it be, Atomic in his orange or A-Hole with his, his eye. Like I'm a big fan of artists that are capable of doing that. But for me, having a style that I can touch many genres with and many different stories, and I can make it corporate, I can make it personal, I can make it abstract, I can make it cartoony, I can push and pull it in so many different directions, that I felt that was most important for me. And luckily I had a job, man. I had a job that paid me well, that allowed me to, fuck around and play and do all these art, live art paintings and all these different events and meet all these people. Which
Carlos was a creative director at New Era.
Yeah, it was graphic designer.
Graphic designer.
Yeah.
I mean, you were leading projects and basically getting the look and feel of what those hats would inevitably look like.
I was in charge of mostly the look of the men's clothing line.
Cool.
So, I kind of focused on that, and that shit paid the bills, man.
Did that go into any of your art, having the, vector art type style that can be kind of compartmentalized into something that can be translated into embroidery? Because you're always a hardline outline person. If you look at Carlos's art, he always has, for the most part, something of a hard line to finish.
Yeah.
Whether it's a darker color of a contrast, but there definitely has that standout to say, which reminds me a lot of like the old school character art from like New York, like old school character art, which is probably one of the reasons why I love what you do and like your styles, because it has that mix between urban and cultural.
Yeah. And even back in the days, like there were some graffiti artists, or at least for me growing up, like, they would write their name, but sometimes they would write some other shit. Like they would write their kid's name or their girl's name or whatever. But it was, their line work was so specific to what they did that you're like, all right, that's this dude or that's this chick. And just solely based on the use of color and you know the way they lay their lines and maybe certain angles that they take or whatever. So like that to me was always kind of like a part of I don't know. I've always picked that out of things like musicians that play a certain way. You know, whether it be people who, you know, create art a certain way. And there's something very particular about things that attract my eye, whether it be, you know, whatever the fuck it is. But so I was always kind of wanting to find that for myself, because it was going to be mine. And I wanted it to be mine, and luckily I found it, man. I found this style, the way I use paint, the way I kind of let things happen organically, and it's a mixture of very loose, you know, brush strokes and then tightening it up with some line work, or, you know, so it's something that I feel now belongs to me, and it's not easily replicated because it's part of, you know, just part of who I am and my hand, how my hand works, whatever.
It's very distinct, dude. Like you can tell that you spent time on it.
Yeah, dude, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I, you know, it's just one of those things along the line. You just pick up things, and then you meet people. Like I remember I did me and my homie Serge. We always talk about this. I did a show, and that was the day that I met Serge. I did
He's
a
talking
show
about
at,
a mutual artist friend of ours named Il Surge on. I have to explain this, as I know people can't. They're not going to be able to listen to Il Surge, one of the Miami old school homies. That he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, man, he's the dude. He's the homie. And so I did this show at Concrete Beach with Yo Miami.
Yeah.
You know, he was curating the space, and I came in with like 10 pieces, but they were all different, man. I had like a realistic tiger. I had like these little cartoon bubbles I used to do. Then I had like these pencil drawings and shit. And I remember Serge was like, "Yo, these artists are crazy. Look at all these, you know, look at all these artists." And I was like, "Nah, that's all me." He goes, "You did all of these?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Damn, that's really impressive. But you need to find one thing that's yours." And I'll never forget that day. And from that day forward, that was kind of like the real like pursuit to like, all right, you know.
Now I remember how we met. We met at, and not to cut you off on your stories, I want to get back to what you're saying to keep that you know, bookmark. We met at the Serge used to do this pad drawing thing. He used to have at the ice cream party.
The fucking Thirsty Thursdays. What is
book sketch something? It was a book. It was basically he invited a lot of all his friends. It's on the tip of my tongue, but if I keep thinking about it, I'm just gonna have a lot of dead space.
Sketchy nights.
Sketchy nights. Yes. Il Surge had sketchy nights, and what he used to do in Miami was have a bunch of his art friends come that drew and that did graffiti from different ways, you know, calligraphy, and they all used to bring in, you know, drawing books and sketchbooks.
Classic black book beat-up.
Right. And so everybody would kind of all just kick it and have drinks and, you know, whatever. And when they're done drawing in each other's book, they'd give it to the next artist and they'd switch it. So you would draw in somebody else's, you know, art pad and kind of have that little moment of like, yo, Carlos drew my book, Serge drew my book. Golden was there. Aqualera, she was there. A lot of people, like, I met a lot of people through that.
So many dope artists were there, man. I can't believe I was kind of geeking out at one point, just collecting shit. Like,
well, you do have to, like, you know, like, I'm not a big fanboy type thing. Like, I'm not a big like I do geek out. Like, I know who the people are when I meet them. Mm-hmm. I try not to be like, bro, like, you know, like all like that. You know who the hard hitters are when you meet them in South Florida through other people, man. Like, you know, that's like
for me, like I was geeking out on just like having some of their art. Like I'm a big fan of collecting my homies' artwork. Like, you know, I like collecting artwork, but for me, like the first people I want to have in my collection are my homies, and that was kind of like the first like shot at it. Like, you know,
right.
drawing my sketchbook or whatever. So I was like, all right, I got Jay, I got, you know, Golden and Serge, and like, you know, it was kind of like
mix.
The first thing.
Yeah, it's a really cool vibe because, like, you know, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people that are on the outside of artists, you know, ask me is how do you go and meet people, man? Like, how are you knowing these? How do you know Carlos Solano? How do you know whoever the hell is out there. And I go, dude, I just, or whoever I'm talking to, doesn't have to be dude, but you know, person, I just go and then I show up and I just talk. You know what I mean? I just go.
You're
and
good
show
at that shit, man. You're good at that shit because for me to get out to an event or something, I'm having like team meetings at home. Like, all right, man. It's just like me and all my personalities huddled in together. Like, all right, man, you want to do this? And like my anxiety's like, I don't know, man.
Well, and that brings me to a good point. I think, you know, come arm me, bro. The whole premise, I think, of this show is to kind of get into your head a little bit, you know, get into not just the typical, what's your inspirations, man? Like, not that, but like what sure. I think personally, right? And this is kind of a blanket statement that I've found. I think that most artists, let me just say it like this. I think I'm an insecure person, right? A little part of me is very insecure about certain things. I've got two Tonys, right? I got the Tony that goes to a party that can talk up.
Tony.
Right. I got the first Tony that goes to the art show, says what's up to everybody, chats it up, has drinks, you know, makes jokes, ha 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 ha, you know, like people remember, yo, what's up? Like all that stuff. I go there and have a great time. And then I go home and I just like, right, fall out and I don't want to talk to anybody for like a week, 2 weeks. There's the Tony of, I never want to see a face. I don't even want to answer a phone call. I will not answer phone calls. I mean, I'll answer your phone call because you're part of my circle, but people calling me and just like, I don't want to hear anybody. I want to go to any place. I don't want to chat it up with anybody. That's that different side of that, what we have to go through sometimes. And then there's I just want to be in my house curled up and watch TV for 3 weeks. I don't want to, and then I don't want to create anything. You know, there's the different, personalities that come from being an artist. And I think that some of that comes from a little bit of insecurity. And I think that what I'm asking you is, what part of do you consider yourself as an artist to have insecurities?
Oh, dude, my God, so many. Like I didn't grow up as like the life of the party. So like for me as an artist, like I'm an introvert. I mean, I'm not very comfortable around big crowds. I keep my circle small.
Which you usually are around big crowds. You usually like
I usually am,
enough,
but
you know what I mean?
Part of it is for work. I mean, part of it is for, if you were to ask me like, oh, you want to go kick it with Tony over some tacos and a beer, or I want to go stand in front of 100 people in pain, I'd probably want to go kick it and get a beer and some tacos with Tony. But it's just as an artist, you for me, speaking for myself, there's always those battles, man. There's always that, am I good enough? Am I out enough? Am I showing myself enough? Am I giving myself a fair shot? Or am I in the studio? So yeah, that's definitely one of the Solanos is that insecure dude. And then I have a very confident Solano when like I'm in the midst of a project, or I'm on stage painting, or interacting with crowds, and I'm on it, man. I'm like, because I believe I've put in the work behind my style and my talent, that like you can foul Michael Jordan and he's gonna hit those buckets at the free throw line. Like he's I'm very confident in terms of executing and delivering products. So like there's that confidence in Solano. And then there's Carlos Solano, who's just about his family. Like I love my wife and I love my kids, and I literally pass up on opportunities to do things because I want to be changing diapers. I want to be wrestling around. I want to be watching cartoons.
Congrats on your new addition too, by the way.
Thank you, man. Thank you. She's a little Amalia. So yeah, we got 2 beautiful girls and a beautiful wife, and man, these are things that I feel that fulfill a void that I've had for a long time. Like I always wanted a certain family dynamic that I didn't grow up with, and I'm fighting so that my children have that. And
right. So when do you think speaking about like children and kind of being that young, right? When do you think the first time you felt inspired was? Like for me, just to give an example, what I mean is I remember the first time I actually remember being inspired was I was in Puerto Rico visiting my grandfather, right? My mom, and my brother. I was like 5 or 6, maybe 3. No, I was like 3. My grandfather's house had a beach right in the back. Open up the door and it was like beach. I just remember going out there with my mom holding her hand and looking out into the ocean, just the vast nothing, and just going, wow, like, and then remembering, I don't know, just later on in life, you like using that for something, like feeling inspired by something. You remember your first time that you've ever been like, I want to create something?
Man, you know what? I can recall like my first drawings in kindergarten. Like I can recall me drawing as young as what my daughter is now. But I don't know if that was like real inspiration. I'm gonna say 2 moments. My mother was a seamstress, and she specialized in doing costumes for plays.
Oh, cool.
So I went to a private school because my parents didn't want me in the public system. But my mother became a part of the school in terms of like designing costumes for the annual play. And
I know how that goes. Yeah. Yeah.
That was my mom's hustle. And my mom, that was a way for her to keep an eye on me at school also. Like
right.
She would get to go to school and measure kids and do all this shit.
Right. But really she'll be there to see how her son's doing.
Yeah, it was her way in too. So like,
yeah.
But bro, she worked day and night. I witnessed my mother sit at a sewing machine for 13-hour days and break a night and still get up to make breakfast, cook dinner, deal with my stubborn ass dad,
right.
And try to make that broken marriage work as best as possible. And so she put in effort on so many different fronts that I was inspired without even knowing I was inspired. Now as a grown man who's an artist and has a family, like, I can think back and be like, dude, like, I have years of inspiration that I can think back on. So my mom is definitely, and her work ethic is the blueprints of my work ethic.
You grew up in the Bronx?
Yeah, I grew up in the South Bronx.
South Bronx, which is not an easy place to grow up in.
Nah, man. I grew up in the middle of a crack epidemic, bro. My father used to wake up crackheads to be sleeping under the stairs.
And it was a normal thing.
Fucking looking through your window. I lived on the first floor, dude. And every once in a while, you have fucking pair of eyes looking through your window.
No, that's New York, bro. Like my family, most of my family's from New York too, and I have some cousins and some uncles in the Bronx. I remember going to the Bronx when I was younger and like seeing people on the side of the road, like homeless people, like straight up selling drugs right on the side of the road. And I was like a little kid holding my mom's hand going, what is that? And she's like, don't look at that. Don't look at that. I'm like,
but the thing is, like, the Bronx had a lot of that shitty stuff. And like, unfortunately, it's, part of poverty and all that stuff. But like, I can recall so much. To be honest with you, 90% of what I paint is memories and stories from my past.
Right.
And, there's so much beauty in when you have a community that's not very, weren't very rich or whatever. Everybody works together, man. Like there's friends that I grew up with, man, that are more important to me than people who I'm related through blood, like my actual family. So like I've had friends and friendships that have lasted decades. I've had friends that are like 35 years friends with me, and
right.
And so many beautiful things about how we played sports and how we dodged all the shitty parts of the neighborhood, and how we would all sit in front of the building to watch the Yankees play in the playoff and win a World Series, and Jimmy rig a TV through somebody's window and using milk crates.
Yeah, it's like we're watching 227.
Yeah, man. So it was endless nights sitting in front of the building telling stories. Watching each other grow and develop into the people we are today. And it's, man, I tell everybody I'm super blessed to have been born in that place. And
that's how I feel about South Florida. I'm growing up in a place called Hialeah, Florida. A lot of people don't know, a suburb out of Miami. A lot of Hispanics, Haitian. I'm Puerto Rican myself. Where's your nationality?
Mother's Puerto Rican and father's Colombian.
So you definitely have you got the fiery inside.
Yeah. You got the hustle DNA.
Growing up in South Florida and living here in a place that has a lot of pressure from social pressure for artists. I think that there's a lot of like art politics to happen here. You and I have had conversations before of what the differences from other cities as far as the art scene. What do you think is do you feel a pressure being Spanish, being in Miami, that somehow either you're kind of being pushed into more Spanish type work?
No, I don't feel pressure. I feel that I'm who I am. I'm Carlos Solano from the Bronx, New York. I live here, and I'm inspired by where I'm from and where I'm at. I'm Puerto Rican by I guess heritage, but like if I go to Puerto Rico, those people ain't claiming me. I don't look or sound like them. I definitely don't sound like a Colombian,
Right.
And those people. So I've come to terms. I did this early in life. Where like this is who I am, man. You want to rock with me, you want to fuck with me, is because this is who I am, and I'll keep it 100 with you. You keep it 100 with me, and then if you into my brand and who I am and what I stand for, then that's what I bring to the table. I'm not in here to do any cultural, deal with any cultural pressures or deal with pressures of anything. I'm not here to listen to my peers and try to. I've never been a cool kid. For one, I've never been a cool kid. I've never been the one.
You're technically a cool kid now, bro. You're.
Nah,
I mean, you're a cool artist in South Florida. You got
Don't be wiggling your neck,
bro.
Say that.
You got it. People look up to you, man. Like I don't know, you got the kids looking up to other people, dude.
I want people to be inspired and look up to me for the work ethic, for the values, for the consistency. I mean, like I'm not here to be like, look at me, I'm cool. I'm in the fucking driving this. I'm driving. Nah, I don't give a fuck about the clout. But
I think that's one of the reasons why you and I are friends, is because and that's why I have a lot of respect for you, because the small circle of people that I kind of put myself around tend to not have big heads. They don't have these egos, and they're people that I can right away, I feel like I click with just naturally. Like you have a natural, like this dude straight up with you and he ain't bullshitting you. And, and you seem 100% genuine when you first, have a conversation with you. So that definitely stands out, not only in your artwork, but in your personality.
Appreciate it, man. No, I try to be like that with everybody. I mean, I try to just give everybody the respect they deserve. And I would hope that this, it's returned to me. But I don't know, man. It's just kind of those values that I've picked up early in life. And when it comes to doing work and getting back to like the pressures, no, man. I put pressure on myself to develop this style, this look, and to develop this mindset. And that's what I bring to the table. So like if people want to rock with me, then they know 100% what C Solano stands for. And
what you see is what you get, and it's not hard to kind of
and I'm giving you 100, and there's no pussyfooting and none of that shit. So like I don't really pay mind to the pressures. If anything, I'm always putting pressure on myself to be a better person, to be a better father, husband, be a better artist. And
you always have a consistent positive view. I think even for your brand, it's positive energy. Like literally have a hat that says positive energy on it. Like something of kind of perpetual happiness and being positive and not kind of being in that rut, even in a way that like it makes me not feel so like down. You know what I'm saying? Like, but see something you post or something that says stay positive or something, and it picks you up. It doesn't keep you on that little low, and it might not be you're not taking a happy pill, but it definitely has an outlook on changing people a little bit,
So it's funny you mention that, man, and I appreciate you bringing that up. It's become the driving force for my work. Like the bare bones message is, feel good art,
right?
Something to make you feel good about, whether it be a nostalgic memory, whether it be, something that reminds you to just kind of like keep your head up and stay cool. And it doesn't have to like verbally say anything. Maybe just the use of color and not, me smashing 13 different bright colors together. that in a different way might make you feel a little bit, better by looking at my work. It's something that I feel is needed.
Yeah.
I feel that I didn't get a lot of growing up. I grew up in a lot of gloom and doom.
A lot of cityscape.
Yeah, man. It was just, in my life, I found that, and I'm not gonna say that this has always been, but like recently, I've found out that like the message of being positive and keeping your head up and looking like that really didn't come along a lot for me as a young man.
Right.
And I think in sports, your coach always say, "Hey, man, you missed the tackle. Keep your head up. Don't worry about it." Or we lost this one. Keep your head up. But like somebody or someone who was always kind of like preaching that was never really around. So like I started, and I remember this whole started in like maybe 2008, and on Facebook, where I would just go online, look for positive quotes, and post it on my Facebook, and just wish everybody a good day. Like, and just me putting that good energy out to my platform.
It definitely transfers onto other people. I mean, you could definitely affect somebody by that.
So like as and then back in 2008, this style didn't exist, so it was kind of like part of the foundation of this, where like eventually just merged into one story, and it just becomes that, man. And sometimes I think people think it's corny that I'm like this happy-go-lucky artist, and then like I really don't look the part. Like I'm a big dude with a beard, and I got that Subway face. Most part of my day, like, I look like the dude who's sitting in the corner of the subway. He's had a long day at work.
Like what, dog?
What?
Nah, dude, you look like you're a very approachable person. I mean, you've got the good vibe coming from it. It ain't corny.
My wife is like, "Yo, listen, man, why do you look so angry?" I'm like, "Hey, listen, this is just 27 years of riding a subway train."
Right. No, I find myself, and this is a question for you that goes to being an artist. When's the last time? This is stuff like when's the last time you cried during a song? And I ask this in a way because I know that artists have a very emotional. They have a lot of passion, so it could be either all of a sudden or like regularly. But I know that we get it out somehow. So when's the last time you cried during an actual hearing a song?
I'm a huge MF Doom fan.
Okay.
Huge MF Doom fan. So when I found out he died and they released it on New Year's Eve, like I probably shed a tear while I was listening to his catalog, only because he means so much to me as an artist. And I had just painted a mural of him.
Yeah. You
2 weeks
did. I remember that. Yeah.
With Mural Fest. So I was like, damn, man, like what the fuck?
Yeah, that was right before. Wow. I you had just painted that. And it kind of seemed like it was after because of what the post, but you had done that before. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was so weird, man. And it was like, oh man, I had the opportunity to do something Doom related that wasn't like a commission piece for any company or whatever. It was just kind of like me doing what I loved.
Right.
And I challenged myself to do like a grayscale piece. I was like, no, what better than Doom's mask? And then the news came and I was like, damn, man. And like that was genuinely like very sad for me. But then there's time where I'll listen to music that reminds me of my mother. Right. And like the emotions come up, or there's times where like, me and my best friend back in New York, shout out to King Dazer, we have pretty much the same taste in music, and like we went through college together. We shared, I was there for the loss of his dad, and we grew together a lot as men. So like there's certain tracks that like bring me back to like, the bond that we have and him not being around and just,
what's in the
I'm
sound?
an emotional man, bro. I ain't gonna fucking lie. I'm an emotional man.
And a lot of artists don't seem like they're
with
emotional.
cancers, dude. Like, dude,
I know. We're just like, yeah. I'm not a big crying person, right? But it's one of those things that like I have like a friend of mine died of cancer like when I was like, I don't know, 15. And it was like, I don't know, 3 years ago. And I was watching, we were watching Super 8, that movie from Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams. And it's about kids that make movies and they're like on train tracks. And it's a real nostalgic kind of like old school movie. And all of a sudden I'm just like bawling. I'm sitting there with my wife is like, you crying? I was like, it's not even a crying part. It's like, it just reminded me of my friend that passed away. And it was years, like years going by, right? But those types of things happen to me. But all of a sudden, I was listening to Rage Against the Machine the other day, and I was like I was tearing up a little bit because it was like I don't know about you, but it's the music that sets my tone when I'm creating. So my perfect moment of music for me is blasting at the top of everything that I can't even hear myself, and I feel like it's quiet. Like that's my putting it all the way up. Get in the zone. You know what I'm saying? Loud Rage Against the Machine type music, and I'm in my zone. But some people can't do that. What is your quintessential way of creating? Like what do you need to create?
Oh, that's a good question, man. So I have a little routine when I get to the studio. I always have like a sage bundle. I always so
to clear the air, please explain what sage does for people if they don't know what that does.
You know, there's no I don't know, I guess scientific proof that it works or not, but for me, I feel that it does. So I kind of clear the area with some smoke, light some incense. I'll put in my, one of my favorite tracks that I'm listening to, and then I'll just kind of have a moment to like just collect my thoughts,
right,
and then give my set my intentions for that day. For the I hate to go to whether it be the gym or whatever and not have like a plan or intention. So for me, like I want to sit down and just kind of like do my to-do list, set my intentions for the day, get my focus right, and then just kind of follow through. And then shit changes. And sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I should have done this, and the things will change. But for the most part, I'll come in, I'll clear the air, I'll kind of get the energy right, get the music playing, and to get my mind right.
Well, and I know you're a night owl too. You typically stay up a little later than most people. I know a lot of art friends of mine stay up, like Ruben Ubiera, he'll paint prime time at like 10 to like 6 a.m. And that's his like golden hour, like being around artists that like to stay up till the crack of dawn. I think I know a lot more artists that do that, unless you have to get up in the morning, obviously take the kids to whatever you're doing, and it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, I'm talking shit, but if I didn't have kids, I'd totally be on that plan too, because that's always been the plan for me since like far back as I can remember.
Stay up till probably what time?
Bro, forget about it. They used to,
the sun comes up
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, like take a nap and wake up and go do the whole shit all over again. I remember, it's funny, like now that I mentioned my best friend not too long ago, we studied 3D animation and we had overnight privileges at the computer lab.
Oh, so you can go out at whatever time.
Bro, my mother's work ethic would kick in, and he has the same work ethic. We'd be just fucking 5, 6 in the morning, blasting Jay Dilla, blasting Doom, and then we'd curl up into our little sleeping bags and sleep under our tables for like a 2-hour nap, and then be up for 8 o'clock. So like that's always been part of the thing. Like now, I got to be responsible. I got kids.
Right, you can't stay up till the crack of dawn, and
I can't be a fucking slug half of the day.
Because I go to bed typically around 5:36 in the morning, right? And my wife, she stays up till like we watch TV. Like there's a point in the day that we come together and like we watch television together after she gets off of work, like around 8 o'clock in the evening. And then it kind of like starts my prime time because she'll go to bed like around 10, and I'm like, I'm starting to work now, and I'm sitting in the office and I'm starting to work, and I'll stay up. So I know that's kind of most of the art friends that I have, they have that type of work ethic. Like they will bust ass as much as they need to. I mean, I know you've been put through so many ringers painting that, heat, sick, doing different things that you need to get a job done. And in a way that I think artists have to also be creative and figure things out while they're going through this like thing that they're going through. So I really appreciate artists that have a work ethic like you do. So what do you think? What do you think keeps you at that? What do you think? Is it just the hustle in you from the way you were brought up, or has that turned into something from back in the day? Like where do you get that from?
I mean, again, watching my mom fucking do what she did, for the sake of me, like that's one that's always gonna be in me. But I don't know. I believe I got something special that I can share with the world, and why put that to waste? I mean, why lose that? So like, I'm gonna use everything in my power to keep it going, to keep it moving, and I rely a lot on my support system.
Right.
You and my other close friends who are always there to pick me up and to always like, you guys always show up when I don't want to do shit. I mean, sometimes I'm like in this slump and I can't, and either Serge is like, yo, you want a life paint, or you hit me up like, hey man, what's going on? I saw this. Or it might be even just a comment, and that'll get the juices flowing. And it's a lot of things, man. It's just having that good energy internally and externally that kind of keeps me doing what I do. And I love this, man. Bro, I would stay up to the crack of dawn for no reason. I wasn't selling any paintings. I wasn't making any prints. I was just fucking showing up to New Era with a fucking eye hanging off my face, like just because I wanted to stay up and create.
And just figure it out.
No purpose, no end goal. I just wanted to create. And for going back to why artists stay up so late usually is because the chances of you being taken out of that zone are less 3 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock. It's just you in the world, right?
It's total quiet for me. Yeah, when nobody's around, I could just like
no worry. There's no interruptions or whatever. And that takes me back to being like a teenager or a young man in New York, where I would love to leave my apartment like 2 in the morning and just walk around because it was just fucking.
New York's great for that. Yeah.
I would just get my thoughts together, and I would just enjoy being alone in such a big place. But it's inspiration comes from everywhere, man, and that hustle. The want is in me already. It's just the fuel comes from my circle, my friends, my family, people around me, and it's just a balance. I mean, just
What's the worst?
No rhyme or reason, man. I just love doing what I do.
What's the worst part of being an artist?
It's man.
Speak freely now.
Hold on, I'm trying to come up with a really nice story. No, for me, the hardest part of being an artist was like finding who you are as an artist. Like that those years of uncertainty of like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? For me, like that moment of clarity came through when I found my style, and like I was able to apply that style to whichever way I wanted to, right? Like then I was like, oh wait, this is my language.
So you're saying that you don't have any issues with being an artist now?
Oh no, of course, man.
Like, what do you not like now? What do you not like now in the art world right now?
Am I working enough? Am I doing enough? Am I providing enough? I have mouths to feed, so it's like, it's not about being cool and looking good on social. I gotta be able to fucking pay bills and do. I'm not gonna say I'm a super successful artist, but I'm living off my talents 100%.
You're a working artist.
I'm making do as best as I can. Some months are good, some months are bad. But it's the scary part is to not lose the focus and the fuel because there's people relying on me. And that's the scariest part where, my wife is not an artist. She's a psychotherapist. And we're very different.
Oh, wow.
We're very different.
It's different at the dinner table when you go sit down and you're like, are you psychoanalyzing me?
We're different. No, I mean, sometimes I'm different. Are you fucking with my head? But it's also I gotta educate her on this life that I'm living, and let her know that
it's not an easy thing for a spouse. It's not easy. Yeah, having a conversation with an artist, it's totally a very different thing than a normal, But
so there's challenges, man. There's challenges. There's times where because I'm the main, I take care of my kids during the day and I work at night. Like one of the biggest challenges is missing opportunities because I'm, being a dad, and
right?
Working with partners who are willing to work around my schedule. So yeah, there's different ways of being scared at this. Is just again, I think is the work ethic and that positive mindset that just kind of makes me look past that and find a way to work with it.
What's the perfect day?
Oh, the perfect day for me would be to wake up, take my kids. Well, perfect day at the moment, or perfect day if I had to choose.
Perfect day if you had to choose.
All right, perfect day would be breakfast with the family, deposit the kids at school or whatever daycare. Wife goes to work, and then I do my 8 to 10 hours at the studio, growing and building, and then coming back home to the family and enjoying my kids and dinner. And then
Sounds like a good day, bro. Sounds like a really good day.
That's ideal, man.
Sounds like a perfect day, actually.
And yeah, man.
All right, last question.
What's up?
Last question, and we'll be done. If you could have a fist fight with any artist, like dead or alive, I know you're not a violent person, unless
I'll fuck somebody up.
I would say you're not unless somebody pushes. But if you can, totally hypothetical, they don't even have to be they could be a fictional character too. Okay, I'll put it out there too, like, because this is still a developing last question for my show. If you could have a fist fight with any artist or anybody, how about this? If fist fight with anybody in history, who would it be?
All right, a fist fight with anybody in history, who would it be?
Bare knuckle fight, no gloves.
Dang. There's two people.
Uh-huh.
One is the owner of the Knicks. Fucking his ass up. God damn, why can't we just have a good team and a good free damn franchise? Sorry, that's just me being a
No,
guy.
that's an answer. That's an answer. It's a good answer. Every answer is correct. There ain't no wrong answer.
Fucking that dude up. And who would I want to fight? Oh man. Damn, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of an artist, but
Yeah. And
I'm gonna
anybody.
name anybody who's living because you know how it is.
I mean, it could be Gandhi. I mean, I'll go back to Fight Club, the movie Fight Club. Perfect fight, Gandhi. You know, I don't know who. If you could just be like Donald Duck, boom, and then just be like, go, Jake. I'm just joking.
Bruh, you make that happen. You get popular enough, you might get
I
blessed.
don't even want to say his name on this show. I'm gonna edit that out later.
Damn, dude, that's a good question, man. Who would I scrap with? I would say Warhol.
Warhol.
I never
Andy
really liked
Warhol.
this shit. I was just like candy soup shit. Like, I get it. You know, I get the importance of his work after I educated myself about it. I'll punch that motherfucker in his mouth.
That's a good answer. Good answer. Good
He
answer.
never rung my bell.
Okay. But you would ring his bell.
Yeah. Whatever that wig piece he was wearing, that funny haircut that he had, pop that shit on.
And you know, the fair answer. No, that's a good answer. Carlos would have a fist fight with Andy Warhol. Now or then? Would it be in the 80s or would it be in like in South Beach for Art Basel?
It totally have to be in the 80s or the 70s, whatever it is.
Right.
I'd get canceled for punching that dude now.
Right. No, yeah. And you are in no way saying that you would fight him because of his sexual orientation. He's saying because of his art.
It's definitely his vibe as an artist. I didn't get it.
All right. Well, fair enough.
It wasn't for me.
Fair enough, dude. Well,
Shout out to the Warhol on the stage. Shout out to those Warhol people. This is fictional. This is not real.
This is a fictional fight. This is not this is just hypothetical in a cartoon fake world, in a what is it, the show on MTV they used to have that team death match or something like that, death match or
celebrity death match.
Celebrity death match. Yeah. It would be one of those fake things that nobody actually would ever get hurt. So that was a good answer, but I appreciate it. This is the end of our time, and I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. Like I really wanted to not only get people on the show that I admire as artists, as friends, and that it's not a huge bucket of people that I have. I do have a lot of acquaintances, but I definitely wanted to get people that were real and that have the integrity that I just find mutually, exclusive to the people that I know and the people I kind of hang out with, man. So I love your art. You do some amazing work, man, but I really appreciate you as a person beyond even just what you do.
I appreciate you, man. You're also a great guy, very humble, very genuine, and I appreciate all the support you've given me. And it's an honor.
Appreciate that. Same to you, bro.
This episode of Come Art Me Bro is brought to you fresh, 100% produced, recorded, and edited by me, Tony Furby. The next episode will be out bi-weekly, wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts, or you can listen ad-free on Amazon Music or subscribing directly on Anchor.fm.
Come on, me, bro.
Come on, me, bro.